Have a look at this. This is the report from FTX's bankruptcy filing, written by John J. Ray III. He was the guy who oversaw the bankruptcy and liquidation of Enron, the biggest Ponzi scheme in modern financial history. And here's what he said about FTX. Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information as occurred here. So just to be clear, the guy who dealt with the biggest financial fraud this century just said this: never in my career have I seen such a complete failure.
The biggest case of corporate fraud in history. Houston-based energy giant Enron crumbled into bankruptcy, resulting in historic layoffs.
Enron employees stunned.
Now, Enron was a pretty big failure, but FTX is worse? 32 billion gone. Accusations, conspiracy theories, and narratives running wild. I mean, you gotta ask the question, how did he do it? He conned the largest financial institutions in the world, the most influential media outlets in America, even everyone inside his own industry. He fooled everyone. In my last video, I explained exactly how this bizarre fiasco unfolded, play by play. But this time, I want to deconstruct the complexity of SBF's financial web so you and I can figure out exactly how SBF ran his scam.
FTX's collapse.
Sam Bankman-Fried is under some serious legal scrutiny.
Could he face jail time?
New CEO John Ray saying, never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate control.
I was very surprised by the amount of money and the amount of customer funds they moved.
To get our head around SBF, we need to understand this one thing. Why did everyone freak out when this balance sheet was leaked? The answer to this question partially reveals how SBF ran his scam, but also why CZ pulled the most badass business move of the century. Let me explain. This is how a crypto exchange business works. You take deposits from customers, you buy crypto for customers, then you keep everything safe and organized, and then you make money on the fees and commissions, which is the spread between the buy and the sell price. This is exactly what a company like Coinbase does. It's a public company, so all the financial statements can be examined. And right now, here's what they say they have on the balance sheet. 101 billion of customer cash and crypto assets, and 101 billion of customer liabilities. But if one day the customers all wanted their money back all at once, no worries. Supposedly, Coinbase would just give it to them. We hold all assets dollar for dollar, and users can withdraw their money at any time. Well, I hope so. And so imagine this, it's your shift, you're behind the till. One day a new customer walks in, comes up to you and says, I have $10,000, but you know what? I'm feeling just so gosh darn bullish on Bitcoin. And so really, I'd like to buy $20,000 worth of Bitcoin. I have diamond hands and laser beams for eyes. I don't see what could go wrong. Wait a minute, I know. You're a big exchange. Why don't you just lend me the 10K so then I can go and buy my $20,000 in Bitcoin total? This is called a margin loan. Then the next customer comes in with another proposition for you. Hey, so I already have 20,000 in Bitcoin, but I need some cash this month. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin because, well, I'm a true believer. And he doesn't want to realize the gains for tax purposes. But can you just lend me, say, 10K? I'll secure it with my 20K of Bitcoin. And you know I'm good for it, right? If I don't pay you back, you can just sell my Bitcoin and pay yourself back from the proceeds. This is known as borrowing against your assets. These are not crazy financial ideas. These financial arrangements can make a lot of sense. It can be a win-win. So you agree. Wait a minute, where do you get the extra 10K from? Well, you borrow it as well. Simply offer up your customer's Bitcoin as collateral to your lender, just like the customer did for you. If you default, the lender sells the Bitcoin. And so where do you find this lender? Well, we can look at our own customer base. Some customers want to borrow dollars to buy Bitcoin, to go long Bitcoin. Other customers want to borrow Bitcoin to make dollars, which is to short Bitcoin. Remember GameStop? That was shorting a stock, a short squeeze.
GameStop situation is the craziest I think I've ever seen.
And you can short anything. So here's a quick refresher on shorting. I borrow one Bitcoin and sell it for $20,000. A week later, the price drops to $18,000. Then I buy back the one Bitcoin for $18,000, give it back to my lender, and then pocket the $2,000 profit. And it can get much more complicated than this as well. You can kind of bet and trade whatever you want. All of this is called leveraged trading. The point is, you can't short Bitcoin without borrowing it first. Customer A, Alice, has Bitcoin and she wants to borrow dollars. And then customer B, Bob, has dollars, but he wants to borrow Bitcoin. And so you, as Nakamoto Exchange, can facilitate the swap while charging them both interest. Alice and Bob are both over-collateralized, which means you're only lending 50% of the value of each asset. So you've got some margin and you feel safe. But this is far from a safe bet. There are risks. Timing risk, market movement risk, run on the bank risk. But Nakamoto Exchange isn't just any old exchange. It's a crypto exchange. So you can do crypto-y things regular exchanges just can't do. Like make up some tokens and issue them. And in FTX's case, they issued FTT tokens. FTT is kind of like a stock in FTX. You can go to CoinMarketCap and see, well, the market cap. But it's not actually a stock because FTT does have real stock that VCs bought. But FTT acts like a stock. FTT is a bet on FTX's future profits. So the higher the FTX profits, the higher the price of the FTT. It's kind of like a stock. But it's also a crypto token, which means you can use it as collateral. Bring $100 of FTX and use it as collateral to borrow $50 of Bitcoin. Or anything else. And how much you can borrow depends on the margin requirements that the lender sets. But this is where it gets juicy, using crypto tokens as collateral. Customer A, Alice, is long Bitcoin on margin, which means she's levered. She's got 1 Bitcoin and owes you $10,000, which is what she borrowed from you in the first place. Then we've got customer B, Bob, and he's short Bitcoin. He's also on margin. He's got $20,000 and owes you half a Bitcoin that he also borrowed from you. Just imagine this at scale. You have hundreds of Alices and hundreds of Bobs. Here's what you've facilitated. You've loaned 50% of Alice's Bitcoin to Bob, so 50 Bitcoin, and then 50% of Bob's dollars to Alice, $1 million worth. Then you keep the remaining as collateral. So you have 50 Bitcoin and $1 million. Seems okay. And you're very responsible. So you check the books. You owe all the Alices and Bobs 100 Bitcoin and $2 million total, all up. Then all the Alices and Bobs owe you back 50 Bitcoin and $1 million. But you also have 50 Bitcoin and $1 million as collateral yourself. Cool, so everything balances. Oh, but wait, who's this? Customer C, Caroline. Hi, I'd like to borrow 50 Bitcoin and $1 million. I'll secure that loan with 150,000 FTT tokens, each worth $20. That's the market price right now. So you check the price on CoinMarketCap and it checks out. Sure thing, you do the deal. Now you have 150,000 FTT worth about $3 million market price as collateral, but no Bitcoin and no dollars. So you check the books again. You owe Alice, Bob, and Caroline 100 Bitcoin and $2 million and 150,000 FTT. Okay, let's check the other side. Alice, Bob, and Caroline owe you 100 Bitcoin and $2 million. Right. And then on hand, you have 150,000 FTT of collateral. Sweet, so everything still balances. We're good. Wait, hang on a second. FTT price has been pretty volatile lately, bouncing up and down. And what if out of nowhere, maybe because of some sort of market rumor, investors all at once lost faith in this token for some unforeseen reason, and the value of FTT drops to 0. Now that would be bad, because if you check the books, you'd have nothing. No Bitcoin to give to the customers that you owe Bitcoin to, no dollars to give to the customer you owe dollars to. Now, of course, you try and ring up Caroline and say, hey Caroline, give me back my dollars in Bitcoin, please. But Caroline won't want to give you valuable dollars in Bitcoin for her now worthless FTT. So you can see where I'm going with this. The exchange is FTX. And the reason CoinDesk leaking the balance sheet of Alameda was such a big deal is because of Customer C. And Customer C is Caroline Allison, CEO of Alameda Research. And as an investor, if you suspect that FTT may have loaned Alameda customer assets and got back FTT, then that means a crash in the price of FTT will destroy FTX. And that's kind of scary. So if some smart investor was watching, that they would probably sell all of their tokens and just withdraw their money, just in case. Well, What if that one smart investor just so happened to be the CEO of the world's largest crypto exchange and the biggest competitor to the exchange in question? Well, all it would take is raising one little eyebrow in a questioning manner.
We have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books.
I mean, I'd certainly listen to that guy. Heck, I'd probably tell my closest friends just in case. And then they would probably tell theirs. Word travels pretty fast when money is at stake. This is pretty worrying because now the word has gotten out. Everyone is worried. And they're all trying to get their money out at the exact same time. But FTX doesn't have their money. SBF looks at his books. All he has is FTT and a loan to Alameda Research. Shit out of luck. Bankruptcy. And that's exactly what happened to FTX.
1 week later.
Oh no, not again.
Samuel's on the run. Leaks DMs, $600 million hack. Surprise media tour full of lies. Finally, he gets arrested. Just now, he got released on a $250 million bond. He's free and heading home for the holidays. But that's enough of him.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 of this story, where I cover the Twitter drama play-by-play, then check that out next.